This next year, smartwatch advances will usher wearable technology into a new era, one that Apple's calling the Holy Grail. We've been approaching it for quite a few years now, but this next era really might become one that we come to regret in a few years' time. Reports from Apple's Project Mulberry and new features in Samsung's Galaxy Watch BioActive sensors are pushing smartwatches into medical-grade territory. And in this video, we'll take a look at the smartwatch improvements on the horizon, why insurance companies are already getting involved in this new data loop, and why allowing these companies to blur the lines between a wellness app and a medical advisor may come back to haunt us. Let's dive in. First things first, this probably needs to be said, Apple and Samsung don't really have that much choice in this battle. In the same way AI companies can't stop to think about whether they should or shouldn't right now, smartwatch giants can't ignore the inevitable shift toward medical grade data. If they do, they'll simply become another Fitbit. Basically the story of a company that didn't adapt fast enough and just got left behind. And that's why Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, remember, CEO of a consumer electronics company, said Apple's greatest contribution to mankind will be to health. More sophisticated health tracking is the next frontier for these smartwatch companies. And while there's going to be some major benefits from these advances, there's also some major risks, ones that we're going to get into in the next sections. But Samsung's latest Galaxy watches now include a BioActive sensor, so a chip that combines ECG, heart rate, and body composition tracking. It allows for medical style readings like atrial fibrillation detection, blood pressure with calibration, and body fat percentage calculation. And Apple Watches offer most of the same. But for years, rumors have been swirling that Apple's been working on one particular advancement: blood glucose. Basically a way to measure blood sugar without pricking a finger or wearing a patch. And this would be a very cool development for those with diabetes, for obvious reasons. But reports indicate that Apple's trying something interesting with this next update. Internally codenamed Project Mulberry, their initiative will likely revamp the health app with AI-powered features, including a personalized health coach that analyzes your biometric data from Apple devices. So this highly sensitive data is going to need to be very precise, and maybe at some point it even becomes predictive. Which leads us to the question, who else beyond Apple and Samsung is getting access to this data? And why would they even want access to it? Over the last decade, some wearable data has quietly moved from your wrist into the hands of institutions that have very different incentives than you. Take Apple's partnership with the insurance company Aetna. Through a joint effort they called the Attain program, which had more than 200,000 people voluntarily sign up, Aetna members could opt in to share their Apple Watch activity in exchange for rewards like gift cards or helping to pay off their new Apple Watches. The data that fed into Attain was aggregated, de-identified, so no names or birthdays or anything like that, and participants could stop sharing at any point in time if they wanted to. Both Aetna and Apple obviously stress privacy protections, and Apple actually has been very good about privacy historically. But the real question here though is why the insurance company would even want that data. I mean, they do benefit if you get healthier because then you'll just use the insurance less. But with activity, heart rate trends, and preventative care habits collected across hundreds of thousands of users, Aetna can identify population level patterns, target interventions, and ultimately build insurance products informed by behavioral data. Not just historical claims or who's used their insurance and why. And I'm not saying this isn't about improving employee health. I mean, that definitely plays a big part. But insurers are also gaining a richer data set to classify risk across an entire company and population, which doesn't sound terrible, right? Until now, the most personal data that you produce, so your real-time heart rate, your sleep patterns, or your stress levels, have stayed out of the hands of major corporations, besides your watchmaker, of course. But no one with incentives that differ from yours significantly was collecting or analyzing it. I mean, ultimately, Apple and Samsung want you to buy nice watches, and that's probably something that you want as well. But with the rise of medical-grade wearables, that's beginning to change because somebody with very contrary incentives to you now is gaining access to your data. And here's the thing. Unlike traditional health records, smartwatch data isn't protected by HIPAA. Even when anonymized, which it is, it's still extremely valuable. The good news is US legislation makes it illegal for health insurers to deny you coverage based off pre-existing conditions. So if you identify a condition through the use of this data, it won't be used against you. But other forms of insurance like life, disability, and even auto aren't constrained by the same legislation. And they've found ways to use new kinds of data to redefine what risk means at scale. So for health insurance, it's not about targeting you specifically, it's about building models, using trends to predict risk across large groups of people. So on a positive note, smartwatch advances will likely help people identify conditions that they never knew that they had. But on the flip side of that coin, that likely means that insurance companies will come to find out about a whole new set of conditions that pose a risk to their profits. And once they know about risks to their profits, they will likely start adjusting pricing, pushing certain behaviors, or reshaping entire coverage pools based off those insights. Or I might just be paranoid about this. If you found this video interesting and you'd like to see more like it in the future, please consider subscribing. This is Tyler Dutchover. Thanks for watching.